Miami got its man. Welcome into the voice of college football in Hurricanes Talk for the next hour with Cam Underwood from State of the U and yours truly here at the voice of college football. Please don't forget to like this video, share it out on social media, get people in here to talk Miami football with us for the next hour, and leave those comments and questions in the live chat because I'm sure there are many. Cam, how are we doing tonight?
Sending that tweet and good, man. It's always a great day to be a Miami Hurricane, but I feel even better. Oh, jeez, I got some on my beard. Sorry, but making moves that need to be made, and we're going to talk about it, obviously. But in general, feel good, feel strong.
You were on record, and correct me if I'm wrong, of saying, number one, that Lane Kiffin was your top choice. However, that you would be happy and supportive of the move to get Mario Cristobal as a winning and capable coach at Oregon and what he's proven over the last few years.
Yeah, no, that's true. Again, I was out on Manny Diaz from the Michigan State game, 100%. I know that there were other people who, after losing FIU and losing to Duke 2 years in a row, and some other things that happened. The North Carolina game in 2020 where they had 554 yards rushing and 778 total, and could have just run up. Scored 62 points in that game, which was a Orange Bowl qualifier. Like whoever won that game was going to go to the Orange Bowl. And you lay that egg. And people were done then and everything. And I said, I was going to give him a chance. And that didn't necessarily work out well. And so, from the Michigan State game on, I was done. So I can evaluate the performance in the game. I know people were, on good, bad, and ugly. If I gave a grade that was other than fireable, they were like, Cam, what are you thinking? No. Just letting you know. Still needs to be fired, but I'm going to evaluate this right now. Personally, I'm a Lane Kiffin fan. Been a Lane Kiffin fan. I would like to see Lane Kiffin here. I think he could do great things. But also I think that Mario Cristobal can and will do great things here, especially with the additional commitment of expenditure to build the staff and also pay him. You know what I mean? Like we're paying him $8 million a year reportedly. And spending that or more for the assistant coaches and additional investments for off the field, assistant or analysts and support staff and things like that. It was a move that needed to be done. First of all, to get rid of Manny Diaz. And, I think that this is the right guy at the right time. Obviously, Cristobal has always wanted this job. He's from Miami. He went to Miami Columbus High School. He played at Miami, won 2 championships as an offensive lineman, coached at Miami twice. He wanted this job a few times, when Mark Richter got hired and then when Manny Diaz got hired. But I think it worked out even better, because I wrote about Lane Kiffin in 2015, right, before we hired Mark Richt. And then when I got on here last week, I was talking about how he's had 6 years of growth and performance from then till now. The same thing is true for, Mario Cristobal. Coached at FIU, went to the, Nick Saban School for Wayward Coaches to develop more, and then went to Oregon, won 2 Pac-12 championships, lost in the championship game this year, and, has been an incredible recruiter his entire career. Lord Jesus, we're going to talk about that. But, I'm fully in with it. So don't let my fandom of Lane Kiffin obscure the point here. Like, I'm still going to root for Lane. That's still my dude. I'm going to enjoy supporting him and looking at his teams and things like that. But it is the Cristobal era. I was at, unfortunately, the Secret Day job, so I was unable to either attend the presser or watch it live. But I watched his opening press conference live, and man, I'm ready to run through a wall because that dude right there, he has it.
We got the same response from the Wholesome One in response to Mario Cristobal's news conference. I did not watch the entire news conference, I don't believe, but I saw almost all of it. I saw a good 25 to 30 minutes or more. And I was mildly impressed. I wasn't ready to run through a wall, but I don't have any emotional attachment to the situation. So what did he accomplish at Oregon? Well, you just ran down the accomplishments, so that would be repetitive. But what encourages you about his stint at Oregon, because I don't even think that the FIU experience really matters at this point.
Well,
Once you've accomplished what you have there at Oregon, meaning.
but I think that, and I'm sorry to cut you off, but the FIU performance informed the path from then till now, because he was doing a decent job. I mean, that's a bad program over there. Their former AD, Pete Garcia, is an atrocious administrator, so he's putting more hurdles and barriers, and you're already running the 110 hurdles. You know what I mean? And he's putting more of them in your way, and he's doing things like that. Like, I already knew that there were going to be these challenges. Why is there a pothole? All of a sudden, why is there fire-breathing tigers all like here? Like, what's going on? Because he's adding those things, and still Mario Cristobal got, not top talent because it's FIU, right? But Jonathan Cyprian played in the league for a long time. T.Y. Hilton played in the league for a long time. Some other guys who, are now pensioned from the NFL from going through that program, developing, and then going to the league and hitting their, 3.5 years of active duty in the NFL to become a full-time or fully pensioned. Like, he did that. Like, they won games and they became a competitive program at their level, right? Not saying that they're this year's Cincinnati or their 2017 UCF or anything, but that was a tire fire, and he raised the floor to average or better. That is a massive job that is not worth overlooking, right? It ended poorly. I mean, it's only going to be sustainable for so long. And again, you have an administration who's openly, contentious for what you're doing. Leaves there, comes here for a moment, and then Alabama is just like, yo, what's up with it? Especially where we were. I didn't like it, but I understand why he would leave here to go there, And if you look, I saw somebody put up a tweet of the majority of the coaches that were there with him in 2015 at Alabama. Nick Saban, head coach, making over or the most money in America. Mel Tucker, Georgia's coach, Kirby Smart, Billy Napier, Mario Cristobal, Lane Kiffin. You got 6 coaches who are all making $7 million or more who were there at the same time as the head coach and then the assistant staff, right? So it makes sense that you go to the Nick Saban School for Wayward Coaches, you coach up some guys, you recruit some guys, and then that puts you on, well, first of all, you see how he runs the program. And just being around that is infectious, That's why I had the success that I had as a music teacher, because I went to Miami and we had one of the best choir directors around. He's world renowned. He was basically the number one in the Choir Directors Association. He was the president of that for years. So me being in that group, even as osmosis, I'm seeing how that's running, right? I'm seeing the administration of it. I'm seeing the rehearsal practice, which you could say, or the practice and the performance practice, and performance is being gained. The analogies are right there. But I got that same thing, right, in my field. And then, Nick Saban gives that to Mario Cristobal in the world of football. Then you take that and then you go to Oregon, right? Now, if you look at all the names that Mario Cristobal was the primary or secondary recruiter of, a lot of those Florida guys that Miami's been missing on recently, that's it, guys. Now, then you look at what he did at Oregon. He got there and they had a 26% blue chip ratio. The blue chip ratio at Oregon now is 65% of the roster are 4 or 5 star guys. Look at what they did in California. Now, I know that was because USC was a little bit down, but even before they really started tanking, when Clay Helton was there and he was doing some pretty good numbers, especially on the recruiting trail, Mario Cristobal, one of those homes that he got them guys out of Southern California, continuing that trend. So, and he is a tireless recruiter. You're already seeing him flying all over the country. He went to Miami Central's practice the day that he got hired or announced, still in his suit, and then went to go see Earl Little Jr., the son of Earl Little, who once wore number 4 for the University of Miami, a cornerback in this class. And he also saw Nigel Kelly from Dillard High School, 4-star edge rusher. Then this morning he goes to see Shamar Stewart, 5-star All-American from Monsignor Pace, right? And then hops on a plane to go to Texas to recruit 2 offensive linemen who have decommitted from where? Oregon. Why? Because he left. A 5-star and a 4-star. One of them named Cameron. Come on down. Cameron Williams, who's already taken an official to Miami, but now can take a second official because we've changed our coach. And then I forget the 5-star dude's name, but he's a monster, and he was like the number 2 tackle in America. And he was signed up to play for Mario Cristobal, a former offensive lineman, and his best friend, Alex Mirabal, who's the offensive line coach, who I saw a FSU fan trying to talk down about Alex Mirabal as an offensive line coach because Alex Mirabal himself is like 5'5". But if you look at the guys that he's recruited and developed, like I want the guy who recruited and developed Penei Sewell, who now plays for my Detroit Lions. You know, first team All-American, didn't allow a pressure basically in his entire career, top 10 overall pick in the NFL draft. Yeah, I want that guy. And because if I'm trying to draft someone to play offensive line, as like a coach to play offensive line, give me Garen Justice, give me Mario Cristobal, 6'2", 6'3", and you could tell that like he's a big dude, you know, because he was a lineman, right? I don't need Alex Mirabal to play offensive line. I need him to tell or coach my offensive linemen to do the job, and he's done that at many a place. Shut up about it. You know what I mean? But back to the original point, Mario Cristobal's flying all over America already right now talking about recruiting to the University of Miami. The buzz down here from coaches and from players in this class and future classes is to a level previously unseen. I mean, it's not been like this, even with any new coach. And there's many data points of Miami having new coaches where you could have that initial bump of, oh, this guy, It's not been like this in a long, long time. I'm talking since I was in college, damn near 20 years ago or more. You know what I mean? Like that's when Miami had this kind of cachet. And that's even with Al Golden getting Tracy Howard, the number 1 corner in America, getting Deion Bush, the number 3 safety in America, getting Duke Johnson, the number 8 player overall in America in a class. That's with Randy Shannon getting the number 1 class in America with not Teddy Bridgewater, before him, Ja'Cory Harris and all them boys from the West to come in. That's even with Mark Richt doing a good job. That's even with Manny Diaz recruiting. Not too bad. Now, this year, notwithstanding, yeah. But previous years, not too damn bad, especially if you look at last year with what was happening and what we got on the field, and these freshmen who, you know, played almost, 1,700 aggregate snaps across all the freshman class this year and everything, including, you know, Leonard Taylor and James Williams and Cam Kinchins as well, and these receivers, and, you know, like, there's so much on the field, and you're like, yo, like, the recruiting was actually okay. And on the first day, Mario Cristobal comes in, and whatever ceiling there was is now gone because it's infinite. And now I'm not saying that we're going to hit this infinite ceiling, but there was a cap before. There was an actual ceiling. Like I could, like pretty much the 2020 class for Manny Diaz, that was about the ceiling. You're going to get 2 5-stars, you're going to get some 4-stars. It'll be really good, get some guys who fit, but more than that, probably not. That hard ceiling, gone. It's different, man. And I like it. So, but you see, on the field, like we talked about, championships. I know it's only conference, but championships, right? So division and conference overall. And even though you did not win this year, you still got to the conference championship game. And like I said last week, it was a bad matchup against Utah. Utah's a really good team this year, and they do what you don't, and you didn't have a quarterback. And that's okay. But yeah, you see what he's done there. You see the transformational job of recruiting that was done out there. And now I not only have him leading that, got his best friend Alex Mirabal coming down with that, and now we got $8 million, or more American dollars to go, not just ask, not just select. We're going shopping for these assistants. We got money to spend. So if you're thinking, well, this guy has a good job, there's no way he would. Why would you not? Because at an $8 million or more price, right, that's more than Clemson for their assistants. And you know, and they're probably going to have 2 of them were hired away as head coaches this year. That's more than a lot of teams with names that you know. That's more than Florida. That's more than Florida State. We're paying for their assistants. Miami's in that kind of realm and finally willing to put in the money, because it's not that we didn't have it. We were just intentionally being spendthrift. But scared money don't make none. So we said, hey, you know what? Here. And it's not a blank check, and we don't even need a blank check, but we're going to be really intentional to give the kind of support financially to get the staff from the head coach and athletic director on down that we need to be successful and take this thing, which basically you have a race car and you're putting a regulator on it. You can only go 85 miles an hour. But I got this F1 car and I want to feel what 245 miles an hour feels like. No. Put the governor on there. 85 is the most. Take that governor off. Let's go.
Yeah, and for all those reasons, the rest of the division should take notice, because they don't have many of those inherent advantages that have now been enhanced by dollars and coaching experience of winning conference championships, and a staff to complement that that's on its way.
I mean, hopefully, did get our guy at head coach. It has been multiply reported that now Dan Radakovich from Clemson, the AD, is coming over. He is that has been, pick your poison on who you want to listen to, whether that's Brett McMurphy, whether that's any of the guys from ESPN, whether that's Miami Herald, whether it's Sun Sentinel, whether that's 247, On 3 Sports, pick your outlet. It has been reported and confirmed that Dan Radakovich has accepted the job. Pen to paper, will be announced tomorrow, right? So now we went to Clemson, got them up off of their AD, appreciate that. Went to Oregon first, got them up off of their head coach, appreciate that. And did it, because when was the last time that Miami did something like that? Not a Kirby Holcutt from New Hampshire as athletic director, or even a Blake James, from wherever he came from, Maine or whatever. Bro, we went to Clemson, pretty preeminent power of the ACC this last decade, right? Dan Radakovich came here, got his MBA. He worked here first and everything. Yo, Dan, you got years of demonstrated excellence in role. Come on down and let's do this. Okay, well, I just want to be sure that it was basically get the coach first, because you have big boosters who are Columbus guys, and the Columbus fraternity is tight knit, from Columbus High School. Like I said, Cristobal and Mirabal went there and graduated the same year. Some of these other guys and boosters and everything also went there. And it's like, I went to Cranbrook. It's a private school. I understand, you got that close knit community of alum from that one place, right? And so that was always going to be the guy when we decided we're going to move on from Manny Diaz. But so you get Cristobal, and Radakovich basically said, okay, and it's the coach who had to approve the AD. But then the AD was like, well, I'm with you, because Mike Ryan, also from Dan Levitar's show, reported that. And then he said, yeah, in principle, it was done on Thursday of last week with Radakovich. He needed to see or wanted to see Cristobal officially announced, pen to paper, done deal. When he saw that it was done, then okay, cool. So, all right, that got done. Boom, he should be getting announced tomorrow by all these reports. And again, we went to large places for sitting guys, in role, AD, head coach. Let me get that. Thank you. That's what I'm talking about. And also you saw, and I said it a couple of weeks ago when this whole thing started, Clemson already floated out there that they really like their deputy AD and he's ready for a leadership role and which to me, is a clear signal. We know Radakovich is going. So before y'all even put any names out here or anything, we're going to start saying, hey, Bob Hayes over here, who's been in the building, he's ready for the big job. He's a superstar in this industry. We love him. We're going to support him, but he's ready for the big seat. And if the seat comes open, which we already kind of know that it come up, then this would be the guy. And that's probably, I don't know if his name is Bob Hayes, that's his name, but he's going to be promoted when it's official that Radakovich is leaving. But, this process has a proper conclusion for me. And to everybody who kind of talked noise about it being improper or a shit show or things like, all of these journalists reported. That's bullshit. And it was clear that it was a coordinated PR effort by the board of trustee members who were on the outside looking in, trying to maintain their power and say, okay, well, we're not in the decision-making process, so we're going to leak shit out. And to make it seem like, oh, there's no clear thought, there's no process, there's 50 candidates and nobody's getting notified or nobody's getting callbacks, but they're calling and meetings are getting canceled and it's a whole mess. It was never a mess. It was just never involved you. And if you see also, Mark, Team of the Year fan of O State, just hired a new defensive coordinator. Am I right? Had
Absolutely.
not fired a defensive coordinator. Right? But where's the national outrage for hiring somebody for a position that's already filled? You got that with Manny Diaz because these assholes leaked that we were, or tried to leak the process to try to impugn the process. Miami did nothing wrong. Miami acted in a way that all kinds of other schools act. You see Lincoln Riley, right, got hired up off of his good job. So you want to tell me that there was communication only in the moment that he left Norman, right? But again, it speaks to me that if it's Miami, it's a problem. And you know what? Like I've always said, y'all don't gotta like us. If you want us to be the villain, then fuck it. We're the villains. Let's be jerks. Be mad about it. But now I got an AD with championship experience. Now I got a head coach with championship experience from the time that he was at Miami and then also at Alabama with a passion for the University of Miami to move us forward.
So USC installed an interim coach after Clay Helton, Dante Williams. But they clearly stated that he was not going to, that they were looking for a head coach.
Well, yeah. And
so they didn't have a head coach employed while they were dealing with Lincoln Riley.
Now, okay, so the scenario at USC is not exactly analogous, but if you're talking about going, after someone who's in a job, which was the other part of it. So, like, it's not only that we had a coach, but also you're trying to get a coach from another school. It's not a problem. LSU, they hired a sitting coach. And again, removing the current sitting coach at their schools. But still, that was the other part of conversation with Miami as well. You're getting a coach from another team and da-da-da-da. LSU did that. USC did that. Other teams are going to do that, but it's not a problem.
I didn't have an issue with that because
I'm not saying you. I'm just saying people.
I know. But I didn't have an issue with that part of it because you would most likely have to fall into a perfect situation for a quality coach to not have a job. Therefore, you're going to have to go after a coach if you're going to go after somebody of that ilk. The issue I have, and I'm not pretending to be educated on this, but based on what I picked up here and there, would be more or less not from that side of it, but from the side of it of how Manny Diaz was put out there for a period of a few days, still being employed while they were clearly going after Cristobal. Why wouldn't they just fire him?
It'd be like that. Cost of doing business. If you didn't like it, you should have won the games, And I said before, if y'all can go back and check these videos, I did not expect Manny Diaz to make it to Halloween. Right? So, and it was, again, a lot of these people who had a problem with how the end of his tenure was handled praised the fact that we did not fire him mid-season. At 2-4, should have been gone. Clearly. There's no reason to bring him back. Had a bye week then, you could have installed the interim, you could have done all those things then. Right? But instead, what Blake James and a substandard administrator decided to do was the wrong choice. And now at the end, that's really Blake James's fault. And I get it, right? But you did not do the job. And again, I wish Manny well. I saw that he put up a statement on Twitter. I don't necessarily agree with it, but he has his feelings. He's him. I get it, right? And again, I think that he can go somewhere else, maybe take a year off, maybe be a coordinator again, maybe be a head coach of a smaller team and then build his way back up to a Power 5 job. I said that last week, and I do believe that. It's not going to be next year. It might be, a Lane Kiffin, not Mario Cristobal, but Lane Kiffin and both of them. It was 3 or 4 years before they got another big-time job at Ole Miss, which is, that's a big job. That's an SEC job. And then Oregon, right? So it might be, we're here in 2021, so going into 2022 season, so it might be 2025, 26. in there before Manny Diaz gets another Power 5 job. And I wish him well. But again, the job performance was substandard long ago. And we kept him around despite that. And then you lose to this year's Florida State, you got to go, whether it's right then or whenever. And I get that it's a little uncomfortable. I get that it seems unsupportive of the person because you're looking for someone else to come take that job. But you abdicated that position many times over, my guy. Sorry. That's the cost of doing business. See ya.
I'm still not understanding why they didn't just fire him at the end of the season and then go look for their coach. I'm not understanding why they continued him to just hang on.
They wanted to. That was a little bit of a half measure, because there were multiple reports that were if Cristobal eventually decided to turn down this job, then they were going to go with Diaz into next season, which to me would have been the Clay Helton route of we should have fired him now, but we're going to bring him back for another year and hope magically that things are different, and then end up firing him early into the next season because Clay Helton should have been gone last year or the year before. You know what I mean? But yeah, I mean, that just and speaks to the point of that was a crisis of leadership. That was a lot of administrative stuff that was handled improperly. And again, if you would have gotten rid of him when he really should have when he really earned being fired, right? Then we're not having this conversation. But you have substandard leadership doing substandard work at that. And now we're having the conversation about, well, why didn't we fire him whenever we did? You know what I mean? Like, that's the fallout that comes from when you have somebody who, unfortunately, the job is too big for, both as a head coach and demonstratedly as well as the athletic director.
So in just that one small portion, dealing with Manny Diaz, I didn't think that they handled that the best way. And I also just think it would be I don't know how you make the decision that if you don't get your number one guy, Mario Cristobal, that you're going to settle to go through another football season with somebody that you've deemed substandard, and that's why you're pursuing somebody else. So it all worked out, but
it did. But I will agree, even still. But yeah, that just, again, the way that it ended for Manny Diaz continues to speak to Blake James's failures as an administrator, not necessarily the university as a whole, but then again, the university employed Blake James, so you can't necessarily distance them from it either.
So we appreciate all the super chats coming in. We will clean those up as we go right now. Keep in mind that we would like for you to like this video, share the videos out on social media, bring other people in here. We've got about 350 or so on the line, maybe more than that.
Let's get it.
Let's see. We're at, let's call it 486. How about that? 486 on the line. But we can do even better than that. Let people know that we're here talking Miami football each week with Cam every Wednesday night at 7. Falconer X was leaving that super sticker way before we even went on the air. So thank you so much for that, sir. Then Falconer X coming back with this one. Stay at Hard Rock. Win and fill the stadium. Fly the kids in the Chinook. Did I pronounce that correctly? Helicopters?
Chinook helicopters, yeah.
At $70,000 tuition, it should be included.
Yeah, this is an interesting thing because John Ruiz, a billionaire, basically, going to be, I think, the richest man in Florida when his company with this IP goes public, has said that he wants to tear down Coral Gables High School and build a 50,000 seat stadium there at the corner of Bird and Lejeune, I believe it is, in Coral Gables. The superintendent of Miami-Dade schools, Albert Carvalho, said unequivocally that that is not happening, and they're not entertaining raising a school to the ground. And it's one of the oldest schools in Dade County, Coral Gables Senior High School. But that's been a talk. And then, obviously, since he's saying that he wants to find an on-campus or closed stadium, people have taken off with that and everything and whatnot. And, of course, fans of other teams want to always talk about Hard Rock Stadium like they don't love it when they come here. And it's a NFL site. We're going to have a F1 race around that with, you know, that as a centerpiece and the track going around that and everything, like major concerts, major events, Super Bowls, you know what I mean? Like, that's the stadium. Yes, it's far from campus. Don't really care. To Falcon Rex's point, I had a joke with my friends in college based upon our tuition. Because then it was slightly less. It was like 55 to 58,000. But somebody in the horticulture department at orientation said that it cost between $50,000 to $60,000 to upkeep one of the royal palm trees. And there's many royal palm trees on campus. And so we all picked out our own palm tree. It was like, my tuition is this one. So mine was so if anybody watching remembers the old Rathskeller, it was the old like bar on campus that was built, and it was grandfathered in with its own liquor license that's been transferred now to the new one. But anyway, if you remember the old Rat and you left 3 trees down from the Rat on the auditorium side, the Gusman auditorium side, it was 6 down. So if you're coming from the School of Music, it was 3rd down on the left. If you're coming from the Rat, it was 6 down on the right. That was my tree. So a similar kind of a thing when he's talking about my tuition should include these kind of things for them or whatever. But how many Chinook helicopters would it take to put, you know, all the equipment and all the people? Like, that's a lot. But hey, we got money now. Why not? Let's do it.
All right. Ronan, appreciate you being here, man. Stadium is not the issue. Lack of wins has been the issue. 2017 proved my point for me. Delighted Mario is home. Can't wait for this to get rolling. Go Canes.
Man, that is so true. You know, and Mario Cristobal talked about, you know, creating a home field advantage and having fans there to support the team and be the energy for the city and support them. And all the players are quote tweeting that clip of the video, like James Williams, your superstar freshman safety, and other guys saying, yo, this right here. But man, if you were there, and again, I've talked about it and I will continue to talk about it as long as I live, that Notre Dame night in 2017 was as electric or more than any night that I ever spent in the Orange Bowl. Any day, game, whatever. This is 2000 Florida State. This is 2003 Florida. This is any of those games. The duels against Virginia Tech back when they were good. The Louisville Thursday night. The Thursday night with West Virginia when Quincy Wilson, not related to the one who played Florida, but when he shook every All-American and put his shoulder into Brandon Merriweather's chest and hurled him and strutted to the end zone, and all these games. They didn't hold a candle to that night at Hard Rock Stadium. It was incredible. And if you go back to the week before with the Virginia Tech game, you know, that same Saturday night, ESPN or ABC national kind of a game. Look, man, it's not far from that. It's not a far distance for that to be normal. And even if that super supreme fan experience isn't there every week, even if it's only 40,000 in an 80,000 person stadium, Miami fans are loud, bro. Loud. That Seven Nation Army gets cranking. And whatever and it gets to be a big 3rd down and they do bro, I'm telling you, even with a half full stadium, it is. Look, Notre Dame in 2017 talked about it being so loud that they couldn't have signals. You've had other teams come in and talk about, man, we had all these false starts and we thought Miami, everybody's going to be on the beach and it's going to be chill. But like we couldn't hear and we're false starting and then they scored that touchdown because we didn't hear their snap count. So the guy's already by us before we're moving and not, it is not a far off thought or a crazy thought that Hard Rock Stadium can be and is one of the best home fields around. And now you have all this energy. I'm telling you, turn up the volume when you watch one of these games. You will hear the crowd in full throat. I'm telling you, watch the number of false starts. Watch this. It is not far away. And to Ronan's point, start winning some more of these games and see what happens. Man, I'm telling you, it could be special. It could be special.
Cam's fired up. Falconer X is here again. When Alabama plucks a young coach, you should ask why.
Yeah. When Alabama pretty much picks anybody at this point, whether it be a player or a coach, I don't know who this is in reference to specifically at the
Yeah, I
moment.
don't either specifically.
But yeah, no, I mean, if they're associated with that program and everything, they are operating at a high level of excellence. So yeah, if you're looking to build out a program or build out a staff, that would be a good place to start if you could.
Roland, appreciate you being here. Asking about an update on Kamari Rogers.
Kamari Rogers spoke with Mario Cristobal the other day, and his family, obviously, his father, the Rogers dad, has been big on social media about like he's a Hurricane fan and really, didn't push Kamari there, but is very excited that he's coming to Miami and things like that. But Mario Cristobal apparently allayed a lot of concerns that Kamari Rogers might have potentially had. That was giving him pause to, go visit Ole Miss and go visit Mississippi State because he's from Mississippi, is Kamari Rogers. And hopefully he'll visit again this weekend, I want to say, before early signing. But all signs right now point to us keeping Kamari Rogers. Excuse me, not only that, but again, there's all kinds of guys out there who were not on the board, who could potentially be on the board. And it's going to be a crazy run to the early signing period and then to February signing day. It's going to be a crazy run. Like inside baseball, right? I start the recruit notebooks early. I do. This year I did not because I was not sure about Manny Diaz's status and where guys are going to go. Now in the next week, I have a lot of typing to do. But, we create these graphics. The incomparable Mike Meredith makes these graphics for us and everything. And I was just like, look, make graphics for the guys that we have, and we'll have to catch up and do notebooks down the line. But who knows? You know what I mean? Nigel Kelly, Shamar Stewart, the Anthony Lucas kid who's from North Miami but lives in Arizona now. Kevin Coleman, I think is his name. He's a 5-star wide receiver from St. Louis who all of a sudden is like, hey, maybe I'll look at Miami. These offensive linemen who were, going to Oregon but now are decommitted from there. Maybe we circle back on them. Maybe a Jaden Gibson who Miami was recruiting and he picked Florida, but now he's decommitted from Florida just today. Like, there's so many moving pieces. And we'll see, because obviously, like the early enrollees of the group, they're gonna want to sign now. You know what I mean? When they can, like, next week. Because I think it goes Friday or Wednesday to Friday. But yeah. So that's the short story long. But Kamari Rogers looks like we're gonna keep him. And then Mario's on the case, bro. So we're starting to run up after a bunch of other dudes. So stay tuned. It's gonna be, and it was so radio silent during the season because we played like shit. You know what I mean? Like there was no buzz. Like all the buzz that we had leading up, like you just see, okay, here's one decommit. Here's, the Justin Medlock kid from Texas, 3-star linebacker, 3-star, 4-star borderline guy, but Manny Diaz was the DC and the linebackers coach, ostensibly. So it makes sense if he's gone that, he's going to look at his other options, but like there's a 4-star linebacker who's committed to Oregon and then he decommitted. You know what I mean? Like there's other guys out there. It's going to be a whirlwind, both now and into the future. And if y'all don't know, if you're listening for the first time, first of all, thank you. Second of all, I started as a recruiting-focused blogger. Like, I didn't really give opinions. I really just talked about high school stuff and recruiting. So I've been doing this for more than a decade now. It's different. And it's in the best way possible, too. So it's going to be crazy, but there's your answer.
Your 5-star offensive tackle from Texas is Kelvin Banks.
There it is, Kelvin Banks. And then the other one was Cameron Williams from Duncanville, I believe it is, the 4-star.
Falcon Rex. There he is. I don't know if he's sending us some kind of message at 11:11.
We'll take it.
Okay. Cam, I have heard all kids call. I would go with all kinds of rumors there. Okay. Do you know what happened at the Board of Trustees to crack open the vault? I don't think it was Herbie's comments.
I do think it was Herbie's comments. I think it was being put on blast in the national media because, I don't know about your family structure, right? But I know when I was growing up, my mother and my grandmother and my aunts and uncles, father, everybody pretty much had one key ethos. We're going out in public. Do not embarrass me.
Mm-hmm.
Do not. I don't care how you feel about it. I don't care, Cameron, that you're going to the mall with 3 aunts, grandma, and mom, and you would rather be going to play basketball or whatever. But we're going to be out here, and what you're not going to do is embarrass me in public. So get that through your mind and let that inform your action. Else, the reaction and the consequence will not be what you like. But from now, I'm letting you know the expectation is you do not make me look bad in public. Right? Athletics made the university look bad in public. Because no matter what you think about College Game Day, it's the most watched thing on Saturday morning. And so now you have the preeminent voice on that show lambasting the University of Miami. Not just a play. It's not even the, oh, come on, man, where you just have one play or something, right? But calling out the administration by name. Saying, what are y'all doing? Y'all don't care. This is an atrocity. This is a mismanagement of the highest order to everybody around. And you think that that didn't trickle back? That I believe 100%. That was like ground zero. That was like really where the change that we are seeing now, that was when it started. It started there 100%, because otherwise, what inciting incident would there be? It wouldn't be losing games, right? Because we've been doing that. It wouldn't be historical kinds of losses because we've been doing that. And okay, yeah, the historical loss for Al Golden cost him his job, right? In 2015 against Clemson. But did it engender wide-sweeping change in the athletic department? No. But no, I really believe that it was Herb Street and on with his platform and on that network and in that place saying what he said and how he said it. And if you look back, Herb Street's been one of the biggest Miami supporters for years. All these times that he's been, that Miami has been the game to pick or on the picks that he's not been calling, 80% of the time he's picking Miami. He wants Miami to be good. He's here remembering from, because he's in his 40s, like mid-late 40s. He was around. He was playing when Miami was winning championships. He knows what the U is and can be. And he's always been on that side. And it offended him personally what he saw. And he said that. And that, yeah, I believe 100%. That was where all this change, including the opening of the purse strings, started. 100%.
Okay. Interesting. Corey, do you think CMC, Coach Mario Cristobal, could go with a superstar offensive coordinator and a quarterback coach that would be the heir apparent like Brady and
Ponce? Frank Ponce.
Okay.
Who's at Kentucky now? Or he's been with Stoops for a while, I thought. I don't know exactly where Frank Ponce is. There's no coach that's unattainable, really. You know what I mean? We got money for it. We can go get guys. What's his name? Jesus. Joe Brady is from Pembroke Pines. He went to Flanagan High School. He's grew up as a Miami fan. Tim Reynolds from the Associated Press and others have reported that there is mutual interest between the University of Miami and Joe Brady, the passing game coordinator of that 2019 LSU offense that had a 4,000-yard passer, 2 1,000-yard rushers, 2 1,000-yard receivers, and a tight end in Thaddeus Moss, who also had 800 yards receiving and a couple other guys with 600 yards-ish receiving. So there's mutual interest. I don't know if it's going to go anything past that, but come on down, bro. You know what I mean? But yeah, I think that they could go with a superstar, quote unquote, coach there or at any spot. Again, the finances are not the option or not an object in any of these conversations. So yeah, it is entirely possible. And I, for one, am really interested and excited to see where the staff goes.
Ponce was the offensive coordinator / quarterback coach at Appalachian State for 6 seasons through 18, went to Louisville as quarterback coach for 2 seasons, and then came back to Appalachian State this past season in the same capacity.
Got it.
UM Kane 1, thanks for being here. Appreciate your contribution. Hey, fellas, Us Canes fans need to write a check to Kirk Herbstreit for saying what needed to be said for changes to be made. And obviously, you made that comment prior to Cam's dissertation, so he is taken off on that. But we appreciate your
100%.
contribution, and yeah,
absolutely appreciate that. And even in the moment, people say, "Oh, this feels different," and even that Saturday or that Sunday after and the Monday after. Even, all the chatter around here in South Florida was like, yo, like they heard that, you know what I mean? I'm 100% with that.
All right. Herbstreit's alma mater better not meet a really good Miami team in the playoffs. Falconer X. I've screwed that up a long, long time ago, and I had it down. But anyway, Mario Cristobal should lean into the Miami hate.
Absolutely. Let's be jerks. You don't got to like us. And it's always been us against the world. We're not going to be nice and fuzzy. We're not going to be America's team, not the one that outside people are really going to be rooting for. That's okay. We don't got to be that. But we're all we got, and we're all we need. So, yeah, if y'all want, if whoever wants to hate on us, then hate. I'm built for this. So, yeah, let's be jerks. Hate on us if you want to, but we're going to do what we're going to do. And again, all we've ever wanted and everything that I've always said has been Miami focused. If we do what we need to do and we are who we need to be, we'll be successful. I don't really care to hate anybody else. I'm focused on my team. So if you want to give that energy over here about it, fine, cool. We're focused on us. But hate us if you want to.
You got Kenneth here. This could be the first of another angle on this. Mario is Miami's Kirby Smart. Game day coaching, he has to work to do, but we will have so much talent it will become hard to lose in the Coastal.
I'm with, to this point, 11-1 and headed into the, into a semifinal game against Michigan is the analogy. We're having top 2, top 3 recruiting classes. We're dominating our division like they're dominating in the East and everything. Like, if that's a peer level analogy, sign me up even more than I'm already signed up, bro. Like that,
Sure.
That sounds hella good to me. And then also along the way, finding a way to get over that hump of that one loss, that one game, or that one moment that keeps you from a championship. That obviously would be the thing that I would like to see improve for Mario. I don't really care about Kirby, but if we're saying that 10-2 is going to be a bad season for us moving forward, run that.
Yeah.
Me that.
Yeah, get to that point.
Hell yes.
Team G1. I know Joe Brady is a popular choice for OC, offensive coordinator, but are you concerned with him knowing he did not call plays at LSU? He was just the pass game coordinator.
I was maybe a little bit, but didn't he? Yeah, he was offensive coordinator in the NFL for 2 years.
Yes.
I mean, he was just in Carolina. Now, I know that they did part ways, and they've had a lot of injuries and, some roster mismanagement that has kind of made it a little difficult to do that job and everything. But, he's found a way to use Christian McCaffrey and, some other guys that they have up there, you know what I mean? And whatnot. So, to a point. But, I mean, it's also not like he was completely divorced from the process. You know what I mean? Like, he was a passing game coordinator. And even if he wasn't calling the plays, just like I was talking about, in my prior, educational situation and with Mario Cristobal as well, like, he's in the booth plugged in on a headset. So it's like, okay, cool. I'm here through the process. So I get why he would do that. I understand that. And then you see the results. You say, okay, cool. I get it. And he's probably calling a fake game in his head. You know what I mean? And then going forward. So he's associated with that. And then, like I said, stepped up to the NFL and was an offensive coordinator for a couple of years. That removed any of the trepidation I had about him.
Yeah, that makes sense. They've had quarterback issues there at Carolina, so they haven't figured that out the last few years. Cam Newton, of course, trying to have a resurgence. Chuck C. Appreciate you being here as always. Thanks, Cam. Thanks, Mark. It definitely seems like, quote, action is being taken now. Well, it has been a lot for us longtime supporters to be optimistic about. I agree with Cam. The new AD wanted to see it. We did too.
Absolutely. Because you had all these. I mean, it was scary hours for a little bit there. Of Cristobal has a noon Monday deadline to accept or not, or when that came out on Sunday, and it's just like, why hasn't? Why hasn't he done that yet? It was just a little bit of just like, I'm pretty sure this is going to get done today. And then Stephen Godfrey tweeted 3 emojis, and it was ducks, fly, and then a south arrow. And then when Stephen got, I said, okay, cool, we're good. Like that's all I needed to see. Then it broke a little bit after that, but so yeah, it was a little bit of I want to be secure in this excitement, so I just want to see it before I move forward with being really excited. So yeah.
Folks, please like this video. We've got 585 on the line, and let other college football fans know. Yeah, it is nice. Let other Miami fans in particular, but also college football fans, because we've got everyone in here, know that we're here every Wednesday at 7 Eastern, because we can do even better numbers. How about that? But we appreciate you doing your part, and Cam's doing his part with a heavy lifting, of course. I guess my part is I own the channel. There we go. Falconer X. Taking another swing here. Miami needs to be Miami and not try to be Duke. Emphatically.
Yeah. Well, and that that mentality was something that Tad Foote, who was the university president when I was a freshman, that was his last year in 2000 or 99 2000. Donna Shalala as well. Trying to make Miami an Ivy League kind of thing. But then also extending it out to athletics, and with all due respect, their athletics aren't really great. But yeah, we need to be ourselves and not anyone else, and that will hopefully work for us.
Falconer X. All right, here we go with the turnover chains. He says, keep them. They were originally commissioned by former players. Manny just took credit for it. Cuban link chain is old school Miami.
It is interesting because after the real cultural moment of the turnover chain that first season, even though Miami was not the first team to have a sideline prop, we were not. We just did it better than everybody else, and everybody thinks that we started it because it is so iconic.
I did.
Huh?
I did. I thought Miami started it.
I did too, honestly. And then I was just like, oh yeah, and then I forget, it's some small team. It was like New Mexico or like somebody you wouldn't really watch because
I thought it was Alabama.
Huh?
We've been told by somebody else it was Alabama.
I thought it was a smaller team than
with some kind of turnover belt.
I mean, maybe it is, but in whatever way, I know that Miami was not the first, but we clearly took it to a level that is now proliferated across the college football, well, the sports landscape. You know what I mean? So with that being the case, I think that there's more of a case to keep them than get rid of them. Even though I am of the idea that maybe we should get rid of them, I see the extrinsic value, to others, and just what it means, because it is the one that has really propagated all of this across the landscape of sports. So I don't know. I'm still slightly on the side of getting rid of them, but I think I'm more willing to listen to the case to keep them than I've been before.
Falconer X, we appreciate you being here. You know that. The way it started for Manny was not well done.
That's the other side of the coin that people were talking about, that he was Temple's coach for 13 days and then basically left overnight, to come and take the job here. And yeah, he did to another school what was, kind of sort of done to him. And I get it. But it, again, it's the cost of doing business. You can get fired at any moment. And with all due respect, if you had an athletic director worth a damn, he would have been fired way before he was. So, sorry.
Hurricane smoothies. Where's that smoothness?
Smoothness, yeah.
think you need another S on there, Hurricane. Anyway, do DVD, stay, and T-Rob.
So it's DeMarcus Van Dyke, the cornerback coach, and Travaris Robinson, the defensive backs coach. I think that there's a chance more for T-Rob than DVD, because DVD has only done this for 1 year as an on-field coach. I think we've seen development from his players, but I don't know. I mean, I think that like you're probably going to have a younger coach at maybe one spot on the staff, i.e., you know, DVD with 1 year of experience versus T-Rob with over a decade, you know. So maybe he could. If it were me, I would keep them both, if it were me. But it's going to be interesting, man. It's going to be real interesting to see how this staff is put together.
Boy, Chancellor.
One time for the kid-friendly show, Cam. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink. I feel your frustration. Yeah, no, I let a couple four-letter words fly to this week that I don't usually. But I mean, at least on here, y'all follow me on Twitter. You know that I curse. But yeah, just raw, unbridled emotion with not as much of a filter as I would otherwise sometimes feel on it. But yeah, if your kids are watching and they want to know what those choice words were, I'm sorry that I put you in the spot where you had to have that conversation.
Oh, man. All right. Carroll City Kane 305. Appreciate you being here as always. Thoughts on how unprepared the Ducks looked against Utah again? Mario is making money, and if he doesn't bring a natty, will it be a failure in your eyes?
Again, I think that, and I think we've seen it proven conclusively that Utah was a better team this year, and just a pretty bad matchup. You know, they were able to stop a lot of that running. You know, the run game for Oregon that had been so great for them and covered the many deficiencies of their quarterback. And when it became time for him to throw the ball, Anthony Brown, with all due respect, just can't. And that, and when the field started tilting, right, a little bit of like, all right, Oregon can't run, so now they really have to throw. Now they're down 3 touchdowns now, and then it was just really to a point where, you know, they're pinning their ears back, they're getting up the field. And then Anthony Brown, just even with open guys, he's not good. He's just not, you know. But you go from that, and then you go to Tyler Van Dyke, who looks like a high first-round draft pick. You know, he's got to be, I mean, him and Bryce Young, I don't know that there's another quarterback in the country more than Bryce Young or over Bryce Young that I would like be looking forward to next year other than Tyler Van Dyke. You know, so you go from that situation to this. And again, like, yeah, they were like, Utah was built to beat Oregon. They were built to take away what they did well. And then the other thing is Oregon, this year's version of them, they really only did that one thing well. So when you take that away, it really just, it was a house of cards and it crumbled. So yeah, I mean, I don't necessarily even know that they were unprepared. I just don't think that they were up to the task this year. And that sometimes happens. Again, this is a 10-3 team, right? So we're not talking about losing or being in a 2-point game to Appalachian State. We're not talking about losing to a bad Virginia team. We're not talking about any of those things that Oregon did. They did not do any of those things. They beat those teams, right? So they're still, and I know you're going to look at the losses because the losses are magnified, but look at the 10 wins as well. Again, a 2-tutty win in Columbus at the Horseshoe. Hello, somebody. 1 touchdown?
Yeah.
Okay, somebody said 2 on the timeline.
Still, they won 35-28.
Okay, but still,
yeah,
you go in there and you win that game. Like, that's a game that happened as well, right? So that's, you know, that's the other side of it. But yes, Mario is making big money. The staff is going to be paid handsomely as well. And yeah, you know, I expect championships. That's where my focus has always been. Obviously, start with division, then go to conference, and then go to national. That is what it should be. But I'm not going to say that by next year it has to be that. You can still take steps forward and not win the championship. But if we're, you know, 5 years on and, you know, it's not been a first round playoff look, with a probable expanded playoff that is going to be 12 teams. You know what I mean? Like maybe first round, maybe like something like that. Now we're going to really have to have questions. But yeah, the expectation is championships, but also giving the grace of a little time towards getting there. So I'm not going to say that it's going to get worse before it's going to get better. It needs to be where it is and go up. But yeah, my goal and focus is on championships as well.
Okay, hopefully I did not lose track of where. There we are. Because for a team or an individual to lose their sights of the work that needs to be put in first and foremost, to not be caught up on goals, number one. Number two, to not understand the progression of goals. You can't win a national championship if you can't win your division. You can't win the conference without getting to the conference championship game. Win the division. That's all you can do from week to week is win the game in front of you, which will culminate in winning the division. Then you're suddenly in a conference championship game, not saying, okay, we want to beat Clemson and win the ACC. Well, win the games week to week, and you will find yourself playing most likely Clemson in the ACC championship game.
Mm-hmm. And to me, like, yeah, I mean, and again, like the timeline for that, like it's progressional. So a step here, step there. And, like we want to make 2 or 3 steps at a time. That would be great, but yeah, giving the time to do the work and then having a clear path, and again, if you look at the job that was done in Oregon, and I know that they were maybe in a little bit better spot when we got there than Miami is now.
Maybe.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like it's a conversation to be had. So
4-8, 7-6, the 2 years before he got there.
I mean, yeah, exactly. So it's not even that, it's way better or worse in either spot. But I mean, yeah, it really needs to start to step forward. And I mean, just off the top of my head, like you can start to see, well, you're going to have all new quarterbacks in the Coastal Division, with the exception of Tyler Van Dyke and Jeff Sims at Georgia Tech. Everybody else has a new quarterback, right? You're going to have other guys leaving. You have, Clemson losing both of their coordinators, and who knows how that's going to go because they already, they're not the Clemson that they were for, this golden age run. Florida State, even though we lost them this year, which was terrible, they're average at best, so if you're looking at who's coming from the other side, Wake Forest, I think they caught lightning in a bottle. I don't think they're going to be this good again. You're going to lose a lot of these guys. You're going to lose, from this roster. So, like, there's a clear, but then again, even with the clear path and everything, there's been a similarly clear path for a long time for Miami, and they failed to step up. But hey, you get there. I mean, Pittsburgh, Kenny Pickett is done with his 17 years of eligibility, so he's gone, and like it's there for the taking.
So even though the challenge and the path has only been accomplished the one time in 2017 to get to the ACC championship game, it's a much different scenario than, let's say, Billy Napier taking over at Florida, where they've got to face a giant. So they got to get over the giant. And they even have a number of peers in their division, Tennessee, Kentucky, who are just as good talent-wise and probably more functional right now and winning games at a higher rate than they are. Where Miami, you can clearly look at the rest of the division and look at Miami, and it's all about Miami just not executing. Again, they beat the 2 best teams on their schedule in the conference this year. So when they were right or anywhere close to being right, they beat NC State, they beat Pitt. They've beaten the division champion 3 years in a row. So on that, when they lined up against the team that won the division, they beat them.
It's all right there.
So
it's the inconsistency, and it's again it's playing down to and below the level of the opposition. There's no reason these games should have been close, and that's another thing that I would like to see, just personally and narratively. I would like to see Miami step on people a little bit, instead of a 3-point, 4-point get that extra touchdown and field goal, make it a 17-point win. You know what I mean? Instead of a 4-point close game. You know, you don't have to let them be around. You don't have to wait for them. You don't have to. It does not have to be a close game. It does not. And it's not just the FCS bye week. It does not have to be a close game. And we've seen that on the other side. North Carolina 2020. That could have been a close game, right? If they would have said, well, you know, Miami's not stopping a counterplay. So we've scored on it 3 times. We're going to go away from that. We're going to try to integrate Sam Howell more for a Heisman moment or to build towards next year for a Heisman, right? We're going to try to throw the ball. We're going to because he only had 220 yards or something, 218 passing in that game because they ran it for 1 million freaking yards, right? But had they done that, that would have been akin to what Miami has done and been like, oh, well, you know, we're going to, we want it to be close. I don't need it to be close. I don't need it to be close. I don't. And I hope that we, you know, take that forward. But yeah, to Mark's point, it's been a lot of Miami not doing what Miami needs to do. And again, seeing in the other weeks of handling business, you beat NC State, you beat Pittsburgh this year, you beat the conference or the division champion 3 years in a row. So why is that then not you who's the division champion? Because you handled the business. Because you didn't handle business because the coach, unfortunately, didn't have the range.
So my bottom line point is to get to the goals of a conference championship and a national championship, there is work to do. There are upgrades that need to take place. To win this division, though, basically capable coaching will win the division with the roster that's already in place, in my opinion.
As long as you don't burn the building down, like it should be fine. But we have found ways to create conflagrations all over the place recently.
Bergie, appreciate you being here. The info on Brady is incorrect about Brady at LSU. Yes, Steve Ensminger, we know this, was the offensive coordinator. This was already stated. He had Brady call red zone offense inside the 12. Interesting. Third downs and other packages designed for him to call. Yo, Cam.
Yo, Bergie. Okay, well, I was 8 years old when I heard that. So if that is true, you know, obviously I think that set him on a path. Joe Brady, that is, to become an NFL offensive coordinator like he was for the last year and a half, you know, and everything. But that, again, then also supports what I've said, that if we bring him in, that there's less to be trepidatious about because he then also has experience at this level and the NFL level, even if it's partial experience, like Bergie noted.
So our next question is about, and I'm familiar with this name, but I can't, who are we talking about here? Brian McClendon.
He spelled it wrong. It's with an E, McClendon.
McClendon.
He's a running backs coach who's been around. Hold on. New tab, Brian McClendon. Yeah, I'm sorry, co-offensive. He's a wide receivers coach. Well, he coached running backs at Georgia. Okay, I was right. So coached running backs at Georgia for a little bit. Was interim head coach for the bowl game after Rick was let go, and he's coached wide receivers at South Carolina and Oregon. Didn't he play running back? No, he played wide receiver. Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, we have spots, man. You know, I'm not necessarily the biggest fan of the Oregon wide receivers, but especially if you look back at when he was at South Carolina, he had, you know, a couple really nice receivers over there. And then obviously I think that the value in recruiting would be there and a big reason why to bring him on. But I'm not as excited about potentially bringing in Brian McClendon as I am about bringing in Alex Mirabal because, well, first of all, Alex Mirabal has already been spotted out places recruiting with Manny Diaz wearing a Miami polo, like when they went to Miami Central's practice with 7 coaches yesterday. So, you know, there's that, and that's assured. I mean, that's his best friend. That's his man, 50 grand. Like, he's coming. McClendon, not as enthusiastic about that. I would think that might be a little uninspired. I would like to maybe see if he is like if he's the choice because he's the choice, I'm fine with it. If he's the choice just because he worked with him last couple of years in Oregon, I would like to see us evaluate what the other options are before just settling for somebody he's worked with in that kind of a way. And I know that seems like talking out the side of my neck because I just said, well, Alex Mirabal, but like he's also demonstrated excellence as offensive line coach, and like there's the close personal relationship between those guys more than there is with Brian McClendon, who could work here. Like he would not be a substandard coach, I don't think. I just think that it might be a little uninspired given the amount of money that we have to spend to simply just bring over everybody from Oregon without evaluating who could be here on the staff.
So the Dan Radakovich news has obviously been hot for a few days here. ESPN's going with it just in the last 15 or 20 minutes about it being official.
Uh-huh.
So you had alluded to Radakovich, bless you. You'd alluded to Radakovich having ties to Miami.
No, he got his MBA from Miami and he started his career in the athletic department. I think it was like 82. He graduated his MBA or 83, and then worked like the next 3-4 years ish in the athletic department. Then, if I believe when I looked it up last week, Radakovich. If I just click on this really quickly, he got his MBA. And then he was an athletic business manager. So an MBA in 83, and then the next 3 years, 83, 84, and 85, he was an athletic business manager, which is an entry-level position in the athletic department at the University of Miami, and then went on from there to associate AD spots at Long Beach State, South Carolina. He was the AD at the American University for a year, senior associate AD at LSU, before 6 years of AD at Georgia Tech, and then the last decade at Clemson as AD.
So, of course, the Cristobal hiring gets all the attention because the head football coach is the name and the face that everyone looks at of the most important sports team for most universities. But my goodness, this guy's coming from Clemson. He's been there for a decade when they dominated in football. I don't know what kind of role he played, but obviously this Blake James transition to Radakovich is an enormous upgrade as well.
Saying, you know,
and you being a fan of the entire sports program across the board, this is doubly fantastic news.
Yeah. And, you know, shout out to Sebastian's Pub. I don't know who runs their Twitter account for their blog, but we interact often. Whichever one of I think it might be Vishnu's brother or cousin or something. But they've been tweeting about not forgetting about baseball because baseball needs a reckoning as well. And Greg Lovelady, who I've mentioned before, former Miami catcher on a College World Series championship team. He was a backup catcher. He wasn't a starting catcher. Coached at Wright State University. And I have a couple of personal friends who played for him again. And they would go down to the SEC country for the first or second series of the year and win those series pretty consistently. I think when Aaron and Tony were there for their 5 years at Wright State, I think they won 4 of those series against SEC teams at Wright State University in Ohio, which, like, come on, guys. And then now he's actually up at UCF. Greg Lovelady is the head coach. Bring him in. Like, that is the answer for your alumni head coaching issue with another, you know, premium sport at the University of Miami. You know, and then basketball, I think, also needs to be looked at as well. But hey, you know, Coach L signed 4 4-stars in this recruiting class. You know, so we'll see. But I would say maybe to have an idea for the future for the basketball program as well, because Coach L is in his 70s and he's not going to coach forever. But that being said, yeah, it is great to have like kind of administrator that I think the Miami needs to have, you know, running things, because with all due respect to Blake James as a person, his work product demonstrated that he did not. And, you know, Justin DeTavio wrote about it, the fact that the athletic director was not doing a great job. That was a few years ago. on State of the U. JP, I think, wrote about it, or somebody else this year. I think it was JP, the same topic that, Blake James needed to go. And I mean, he's gone for that reason.
All right, we'll have Jordan Darby take us home here. Been watching you guys for 4 years. Can't get enough. The content here is fantastic. Make sure everyone drops a like and subscribes. My question with Radakovich and then Mario CEO style, would Alonzo Highsmith be unnecessary?
Alonzo Highsmith was rumored to maybe be like a director of football operations level person. So kind of between the head coach and the athletic director, but overseeing the football operations and everything. I do believe he would be redundant in this place with the structure that's ongoing and being set in place now. Had that coach still been Manny Diaz and we had not gotten Mario Cristobal, then give me Alonzo Highsmith or somebody else in that overseeing role over, what football does and how they do it. But no, I think that with Mario Cristobal and his experience and demonstrated work product in running a program, in recruiting, in on-field performance, I do not believe that he needs another overseeing director, like a director of football operations to kind of help guide the way. He's already been, again, followed the path that I think would have better suited Manny Diaz, starting at a smaller school like FIU and having decent success there. I know it wasn't perfect, but what is? Going to the Nick Saban School for Wayward Coaches and really learning there, going to Oregon and really doing a pretty good job there. So yeah, I don't think that he has the questions that a Manny Diaz has. I think that he has the experience of being in a role and being around people at this level already, where, yeah, Alonzo Highsmith would be unnecessary to the organization at this point. But if the athletic department found or had a reason to bring him in and decided to go with that, I would understand that as well. But it's not as necessary as it would have been had Manny Diaz been retained.
Jordan, we appreciate you being here for 4 years. Thanks for finally saying hi, and we appreciate your contribution there. So everyone listens to Jordan's words, and I'll elaborate a little bit here. So thank you. Yes, like and subscribe to the channel. And even if you do it for selfish reasons, get this, everyone, that if you share these videos, if you get them out, if you let people know that we're here with Cam each and every Wednesday night, the stronger the numbers are, yes, it benefits my channel, no question about that, but it also benefits you in the long run because it stabilizes the show and just guarantees that it will be here each and every week for all of you. So we appreciate anything that you can do to let people know that we are here to grow the numbers, and any way you would like to contribute. State of the U, 7 days from now is National Signing Day. And so head on over there. Cam, is there anything else you need to highlight? I thought Cam was just being that still and focused, but he is obviously frozen up on us. So maybe he'll jump back to say goodbye. Maybe he won't. Regardless, we appreciate everybody being here. We did top the 600 mark tonight. So again, those are great numbers, but we can do even better thanks to you. So best discussion, debate, and analysis of college football in Miami. We appreciate you being here. We'll see you next Wednesday night. And those of you who are subscribed on the main channel, you know that we'll have call-in shows, be covering college football constantly with everything that's going on and preparing you for the playoffs and for the bowl games. We'll see you next time.